Hey, good morning, everyone, or good afternoon, good evening, whenever you're watching this, I should say. So, you have seen the videos where I talked about one step equations, where it was addition, subtraction, and then we've also put up multiplication and division. Now, I would like to put into our library of notes when we talk about one step equations with negative numbers or negative signs. Okay, so I'm going to go through and try to show you as many examples as I can, so that way you kind of have an idea of how to solve the classwork um, from this point forward, and possibly no, it is from this point forward because I haven't done anything with negatives to this point. So this will be kind of that start for us all. Okay. So remember, with one-step equations, we always want to do the opposite. All right. So if we see addition, we do subtraction. If we see subtraction, we do addition. And if we see multiplication, remember, it is negative 10 times some number. So a number next to a letter, that means multiplication. So the opposite of multiplication is division. Okay. So we do the same steps. We don't do anything different. The one thing we're going to add is we're just going to make sure this negative sign gets to where it needs to be. Okay, so let's get started. We have negative 10m equals 150. So I already have multiplication, so I want to divide on both sides. Remember that barrier, the equal signs of barrier. So whatever you do on this side, you have to do on that side. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to divide by negative 10 on both sides. And the reason it's negative 10, the reason it is because I'm taking everything in front of the m. Okay? I'm not just doing 10. We have to include that negative sign there. Okay? And it's just like before. Those are the same. It's negative 10 over negative 10. Those cancel. I bring down my m. I bring down my equal sign. And remember, just like before, you can just leave it as m, but if you want, you can say 1m if you would like, if that helps out. And then we just do our simple division here. We do 150 divided by 10, which is 15. And then, even if you don't have a calculator, no, scratch that. I would prefer that you use a calculator so that you, especially for numbers that are high that you have a little bit difficulty with. But you do it the same way, and all we're going to do is we're going to make sure our sign stays with our answer. So our answer for negative 10m equals 150, m equals negative 15. Okay, so when we check it, we can say negative 15 times negative 10. Now what happens when we have a negative times a negative? We get a positive number. Okay, so that's the first example when we have a negative on this side. All right, let's move on to number 2. Number 2, we have 9m, which is 9 times some number, equals negative 36. So you see for this one, the negative sign is on this side, on the right, instead of the left. So we're just going to do the same process. Since it's multiplication, I have to divide on both sides. I cancel that. Bring down my m. Bring down my equal sign. And then we do 36 divided by 9. 9, 18, 27, 36 is 4. And then we just put that negative sign right in front of it. So remember, see how I did this? I just put m instead of the 1. It's not technically needed, so just showing you two options of how to do that. All right, so when we check it, we have 9 times -4, which will give us -36. Okay, so we've seen on number 1, we saw the negative was on the left. Number 2, the negative was on the right. And now we're going to look at one where we have both sides that are negative. Okay, so we have -7m. So -7 times some number equals -35. Okay, so steps are still the same. Nothing changes, except we just make sure we keep our signs where they need to be. Okay, so for this one, I'm dividing both sides by -7 again. I cancel that out. I bring down my m. I bring down my equal sign. And now, make sure I move that down. And now I have it where it is -37 divided by -7. So let's just say 35 divided by 7, which will give us 5. But here's the thing, do we need to keep that negative sign here? Do we need to keep the negative sign? No, we don't. Okay? The reason for it is both of these are negative, so they cancel out. Okay? So now we got our 5. So if we did -7 times 5 will give us -35. Remember, we want to say the only time we change it is negative times a negative is a positive. So a negative times a positive number will give us a negative number. Okay? There we go. So those are 3 examples of when we have to do the opposite, which is division. So now we're going to look at what happens when we have to use multiplication. Okay? So the steps are still the same. Nothing changes. We just continue to do what we did before. And all we're just looking at is this new little symbol here, this sign here, okay? So we have m divided by 5, or some number divided by 5 is going to give us -3. So when we have division, we want to multiply. So I take my number at the bottom, and I'm going to multiply it by -3, okay? So I put on this side, 5 times -3 equals -15. Remember, because 5 times 3 is 15, and then I just put my sign there. So for this, like always, I bring my m down. Yeah, I bring my m down. I didn't want to make an arrow. Okay, arrow. I bring my m down, bring down my equal sign, and then I just put my answer here at the end. So we have m equals -15. So -15 divided by 5 will give us a -3. Because remember, negative times a positive will give us a negative. Good. All right, thank you for sticking with me. We got just 2 more, okay? So we saw with the negative sign up here. Let's check it out when it's at the bottom. Uh-oh. All right, yeah, that's better. So we have m divided by -9, which equals 2. Same step we do. I'm going to take this -9 and multiply it by my 2. So -9 times 2. 9 times 2 is 18. So I have 18, and then I just put my negative or minus sign in front of it. I bring down my m. I bring down my equal sign. And then I just put my negative 18 there. And if I want to check it, negative 18 divided by negative 9 gives me 2. Because a negative and a negative creates that positive there. Okay? Okay. And lastly, we're going to double negative. So we have a negative sign at the bottom and a negative sign here on the outside. Same steps, nothing changes. We're going to do negative 5 times negative 5, negative 5 times negative 5. All right. And what do we have when we get a negative times a negative? That is a positive. So we're just going to say 5 times 5, and that gives us 25. So for the visual, oh man, it's hard to write this way. Bring down my M, bring down my equal sign, and then I put 25 here at the end. Okay? And there we go. So we kind of went through negative signs. I'm going to slowly pan through these again so that you see everything that we have done. Starting from number 6, you see the steps. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Okay, and there you have it, everyone. This is one-step equations. We're solving them with, some of them will have negatives, so that's what you will be working on. Ooh, a little crooked. So that's what you will be working on here for those that choose to work on those type of one-step equations. All right. Thank you all for following through. Thank you all for continuing to do the best that you can here during these times. I do miss seeing you guys' faces in class and at school. So hopefully when the time comes, we'll be able to meet up and laugh again. All right, everyone. Take care and enjoy yourselves.